Hey, welcome everybody to another glorious episode of the Put on Waivers Podcast NFL show. I'm your host Dwayne Douglas, podcasting on the beautiful shores of the Pacific Ocean. I was at the beach today, loving it. Had a great I had a great day on the beach. It was beautiful. Had a lot of fun out there. It was absolutely magnificent out there today. Great hot day. We had a weekend in Palm Springs, Indian Hills, living the life a little bit, Ryan. Ryan Holmes is here talking. We're talking NFL draft, and we're gonna do a little mock draft for you as well. So you wanna stay tuned for that. Ryan, how you doing today?
Doing good. I spent the weekend in Malibu at lovely Pepperdine, as we've mentioned
Yes,
on here, and it
the
was
pep.
hot today. It was about 85 degrees in
Heck yeah,
Ventura
I love
County
it.
where I was at today.
I love it. I love it. I love when it's hot. 858-429 is our text line, and 858-429-9465 our text line. You can reach Ryan on Twitter at RHOLM22, and then myself at RTPOW podcast as well. Twitter, Instagram Live, the whole YouTube Live, all that good stuff like that. So definitely check us out there at anywhere you can find our podcast as well too as well. So Atlanta, Georgia, Hartford, Connecticut, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and Houston, Texas, and San Francisco, California. My Giants, of course. Want to thank everybody for listening to our show out there in those cities as well. So let's start the draft going. Let's get the draft going, get the draft on and popping as far as that goes. Um, the draft is here, and we're looking at, we're gonna go from a mock draft from 1 through 17. We'll finish it next week, and so we have time to talk about some of these picks. I'm gonna try to do a little draft simulator here, so we can also see the picks as well, give you a little visual at home, if you will. See if that one goes through. We're gonna start this bad boy up. All right. Let's see if I can share this out. If I can share that. If I can't. And the first pick of the 2021 NFL draft is owned by the Jacksonville Jaguars. I don't think there's any question on who they're going to pick. We can try to be jokesters and try to play around with it, but we know who's going first, right?
Yeah, with the first pick, the Jaguars, they're taking Trevor Lawrence out of Clemson. That's pretty much a done deal. And he was tweeting in the last couple of days to Jaguars fans, so that thing's done.
Nothing's done. Done deal. It's the reason why Urban Meyer came out of retirement. As far as team needs and everything like that, they need a whole bunch. That defense was one of the worst in football last year, so we have to see what happens there. But I think after they take Lawrence, I think there's no question that they have to start going through and try to protect him after that. It's a good tackle draft. It's a good draft for that, and it just seems like makes a lot of sense for them to go ahead and do that, right?
Absolutely. I would put their top three needs are obviously quarterback 1, offensive tackle 2, and then I would say wide receiver 3. I think they're okay in the backfield with James Robinson. They have a running back, but they need to build those tackles up to protect Lawrence, to give him a chance, and then he needs more weapons outside. They have DJ Chark, Laviska Shenault, who they took last year, but they could use another receiver, a tight end, just another weapon to be on the field.
Yeah, no question about it. Second pick in the draft goes to the Jets, and the Jets, they could be in a situation where they end up or drafting Sam Darnold part 2. Like they could be in the same situation, a West Coast quarterback. We don't know what Zach Wilson's going to be as a player, but I mean, he's going to be the pick, no question about it. I think there's no question about it. He's going to be a pick. That's why I had them picking. I don't see any way around it. They're definitely going to pick Zach Wilson, and they're going to move on. I think that you can get enamored by a player, or you can just kind of get blinded as well. He's slight. He's not the biggest guy in the world. Doesn't mean he can't play in the league, but are you worried about his size going into the National Football League?
Not anymore. If you would have asked me that question 5 or 10 years ago, obviously they were looking for prototype guys that were 6'3", 220 plus, but you've seen plenty of quarterbacks succeed, 6'1", 6'2", 210, 215. You want to make sure when he gets outside of the pocket that he is sliding and protecting himself or getting out of bounds. You don't want him taking shots in the open field. But I don't think it's too much of a worry inside the pocket as far as these guys getting hit anymore. If you hit a guy now, it's roughing the passer. So I don't think that's an issue. It's just, can he be safe and protect himself when he gets outside the pocket and close to the sidelines?
Yeah. So you have the next pick, right? San Francisco. And this is going to be the pick that kind of starts the whole thing. There's been rumors about a lot of different people. Yeah. And this is kind of where the draft kind of starts. Will what John Middlecoff calls the most arrogant pick in the world take place, where they take Mac Jones at three, if it does happen? What are your thoughts about this pick?
Not taking Mac Jones, and we've talked here.
Yes.
I think this pick needs to be Justin Fields, and I'm going to select Justin Fields for the 49ers. I'm looking for a quarterback that has upside to be a top 5 to 10 quarterback in this league with the athletic ability to make plays, get first downs on the ground. He can throw the deep ball, and this is a perfect system where you can bootleg him and get him out on the perimeter and give him run-pass options, and he's a phenomenal athlete. So the upside here is way higher than Mac Jones for me. Jones has obviously a higher floor. You're going to get a competent starter, but I don't think he's ever going to move the needle in terms of being a top 10 or even 12 quarterback in this league. So let's take Justin Fields and put him on the 49ers.
Yeah. It's interesting you say that, because Justin Field is a guy who they did say, I think Michael Lombardi said that this is a guy who he will definitely not be the third pick in the draft. So that means he probably won't go to the Niners, if you believe, his sources and what he says about the whole situation there. I don't know. I mean,
that's who I would take. So
some of these guys, like, it's weird to me, because it's just a weird situation, because it's like, why would you, like, I mean, I like the guy. So I mean, I like the guy a lot. So I'm not sure why anybody else would not take him. I just feel like Fields, the way he runs, the way he throws, the bootleg action, it just seems like it's a perfect fit for what Kyle wants to do. But we'll see. The Shanahans know what they want to do here, I guess.
Is it a bad thing if you take Justin Fields and you get Cam Newton for his time with the Panthers? I don't think that's a bad thing. And if you're getting a guy that's going to give you, 800 to 1,000 yards on the ground, and he's going to be a competent enough thrower. He can throw the deep ball, and he's just going to present a huge problem to defenses week in and week out. And if you go back and study his tape at Ohio State, he didn't run as much as you think he did. He threw a lot of passes, a lot of pro-style stuff in that offense with Ryan Day. So I don't think he's as far behind it as the media wants you to believe.
So I have the Falcons here, and I think that this is where you're going to see a little bit of shakeup here. You could see a trade here possibly, but I'm going to go with, I think what I've heard was that the owner of the Falcons has final say, or will have a voice in the room. So whenever you have that happen, something freaky can always happen. And I think Kyle Pitts is going to be the pick here. And the reason why, I just feel like he just wants to add more offense. I think he has a great relationship with Matt Ryan. He's not ready to move on from Matt Ryan, I don't believe. So in any way whatsoever. So I would say Kyle Pitts, or maybe trade out of this pick for the Falcons here.
Yeah, I'm still leaning quarterback, but I agree with you. If it's not a quarterback here, and at this point, if Fields goes 3, I don't know if it's going to be a fit at 4 for Lance or Jones. So I would lean Kyle Pitts, as you mentioned here. You can, in that offense, if you put him with Ridley and obviously Julio Jones outside, Russell Gage, and then you give him Matt Ryan. If you give Matt Ryan that kind of target, the only concern I would have in that offense is he's going to split out and he's going to want to play a little bit of X wide receiver, and you want to match him up outside, but you already have Julio Jones to do that. So majority of his snaps, if he goes to the Falcons, they're going to be lined up as an inside receiver, either in the slot or lined up as a general tight end. And is he going to be as effective there as he would be out wide like he did in college?
Yeah. The Bengals are at 5. Thoughts about the Bengals here? Because I have thoughts about it, but go ahead.
Yeah, the Bengals, for me, it's easy. You gotta protect Joe Burrow. You see a lot of mock drafts with Jamar Chase going to them to give him a weapon. They played together, obviously, at LSU. I'm under the other. I would go the other route. I'm going to give them Penei Sewell here, the offensive tackle from Oregon. Slide him in at left tackle, and you have a guy for the next 10 to 12 years. I know they took Jonah Williams at Alabama a couple years ago, but these are two totally different prospects. Mm-hmm. Penei Sewell is a way better prospect than Williams was. And you slide Williams over to the right side, and you have your two tackles there. So I think that they should take the tackle out of Oregon with that pick.
I think they're going to take Chase. And the reason why I think they're going to take Chase is because I feel like when a Amari Cooper, when a big time free agent receiver or tight end is available, they're not going to Cincinnati. The only way they can get them is if they draft them, so they can hold their rights for 4 or 5 years. So that's why I think Chase might be the guy. And I think they also, there's that. Have you seen that meme where they have, Joe Burrow throwing a pass where he has plenty of time because he's getting protection, and then other parts where Chase is wide open, but he's on the ground, passed out from getting hit. It's really funny. It's true. It's pretty funny. But I kind of think that I'll go with your pick. I know you want. I think you want Sewell. We'll go with Sewell here as far as that goes. I think that is a possible wide receiver situation there because you can't get you can't get big time receivers to go there.
And Burrow's coming off an ACL here, so they have to protect him. You have a running back with Joe Mixon. You have Tyler Boyd. You have, obviously, T. Higgins, who they took last year, who had an impressive rookie season. So they have some weapons there already. And I think it's easier to find a wide receiver down the line, second, third, fourth round, to come in and be a part of that group than it is to find a guy that obviously is going to protect the quarterback at the rate that he's going to protect him.
So I have who do I have here? I have the Dolphins here on the clock, a trade from Philly as far as that deal goes. It's either really, Waddle or Smith. I'll probably, and in this situation, they want as many weapons as humanly possible for their quarterback so they can give no excuses. Has to be a no excuse thing for Tua here because if Herbert keeps going on this trajectory, they're going to look foolish and they're going to look bad. So I'm going to roll with maybe more of the more solid prospect here and Jalen Waddle. So I'll have Jalen Waddle going to the Dolphins here as far as that goes.
For me it's Chase because I had Sewell going. I would lean definitely wide receiver here. I would lean Chase if he was still on the board. But Waddle's a solid pick.
Solid pick there, yeah. You got 7. You got the Lions.
Lions need weapons too. It's another team that desperately needs a wide receiver. They could use a cornerback. They can use an offensive lineman. I don't think there's a tackle there at 7. I don't think Slater is going to go that high. So, it's going to narrow down to wide receiver, corner. Mm-hmm. And I would probably lean wide receiver at that point. A little early, I think, for Patrick Surtain. So I would give them Devontae Smith out of Alabama.
Devontae Smith. So Smith is off the board. Bama, another recruiting coup here for Nick Saban as both of those guys go off back to back. I mean, he puts receivers in the NFL like these companies put food in the grocery store. It's crazy. It's crazy as far as that goes. So you have Sam Darnold now. Is it possible they kind of roll with a quarterback here? Do they run? What do the Panthers do here in this situation? We have a lot of quarterbacks off the board. I think that this is a tremendous opportunity to take a quarterback. I know that Sam Darnold's already there. I get it. I understand it. But I'm going to go Trey Lance here because he can sit. He's got to play right away. He hasn't got to play right away as far as that goes, right? I mean, he can play. He doesn't have to play right away. He can play for a small period. You can sit for a small period of time. If Darnold goes nuts, that's great. That's great for you. You can trade him. You can maybe groom Lance. If he really plays next level, you can maybe trade Lance. Who knows? He have a lot of value. What do you think about what the Panthers will do here? I got him taking a quarterback. What do you think?
I think it's either offensive tackle if they want to protect Sam Darnold, but I could easily see your situation where it's Trey Lance. And then what you do is, like you said, if Sam Darnold goes out and balls, you have him under contract for next year and you flip him and you recoup the picks that you traded for him. If he has a really good year, maybe you could get a one back for him. You probably can't he's going to be making $25 million next year. But if they really believe that Trey Lance with a year of seasoning can be their guy moving forward, I could absolutely see them doing that. On the flip side, Sam Darnold's 23 years old, and they just gave up 3 draft picks for him. But maybe they're not in an opportunity next year to pick a quarterback. So if there's a quarterback that they like, I think they roll the dice on him.
Yeah, I think it's too. Speaking of a team that's kind of quarterback needy and tackle needy, you have the Broncos pick here. I think the Broncos. Listen, if they're in a spot where they could trade up, they don't got to trade up that far. I think they could. The spot where the Falcons are is going to be the hot spot, right? You know, I don't know how you don't entertain quarterback if you're the Broncos. I've seen enough. I haven't seen enough. As a Raider fan, I want them to keep Drew Lock there. But so tackle looks like tackle and quarterback are their biggest needs. They made some big moves in the offseason. What are your thoughts about the Broncos here as they hit the clock at number 9?
I think they're going to discuss quarterback, but in our scenario, Mac Jones is the only guy left, and I don't think he's John Elway's type of quarterback. So I'm going to say they're going to pass on the quarterback here. I actually think they're going defense. Into the secondary. They lost, obviously, A.J. Boye, who they released. They've had some injuries in the secondary. Vic Fangio as a defensive coach. I think that they're going to have their choice here of any corner they want, and I think they're going to take Patrick Surtain out of Alabama.
All right, so Patrick Surtain's off the board. Obviously, family in the NFL as well. It's interesting that he came out and said – the Cowboys pick right after the Broncos, and he did come out and say that he wants to play for the Cowboys. Sorry, I mean, if you, sorry, I mean, you can't dictate where you want to go. Only Eli and John Elway, so among others, have had that one. So on our draft, we still have Chase on the board, right? So we have some really primetime players. We have Chase, we got Micah Parsons, we have Slater, Barmore, all these pieces like that on that team. I think
the Chase thing we gave to another team, but for some reason you went Waddle at 6, and it should have been Chase. Oh,
okay, so yeah, so basically Waddle's still on the board. Waddle's.
I would say Waddle's still on the board. Yeah,
Waddle's still on the board. All right, so I have the Cowboys right now. Corner, I think I see them. I see they lose out on Surtain in our draft, so I will gonna roll with the next guy. I would say J.C. Horn, another guy who has some bloodlines in the NFL. Horn goes into Dallas.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see them addressing the offensive line too, trying to protect Dak Prescott with Slater still there on the board. Horn is moving up. He's probably a lock to go in the top 12 at this point, so I could definitely see the value there at 10. And Dallas needs help in the secondary.
Yeah, and now, as they used to say on the East Coast, the G-Men are on the board at 11. What do you think about the Giants?
They need to figure out what they have in Daniel Jones. They need help defensively off the edge. I don't think there's an edge rusher at 11 that's worth the pick. So I think this is going to be whichever wide receiver is still there. If it's Waddle, if it's Devontae Smith, they're there. So in our scenario, let's give them Jalen Waddle, who should still be there because we had the Chase pick that should have been. So let's go Jalen Waddle, number 11 to the Giants. I'll just put Chase there, but it should be Waddle.
It should be Waddle. So yeah, so obviously they improved that. They improved that wide receiver core, get some explosiveness there in New York. As they try to, try to get back to winning for Big Blue. I have the Eagles, and the Eagles can go so many different ways. Listen, if you watch that press conference, yikes! But they're just trying to build. They're trying to mold a head coach. They don't really want a head coach. They want to mold a head coach. So we'll see what happens with that team. Wide receiver, quarterback, wide receiver as one of the needs left. I can't see them rolling with a quarterback in this scenario. Wide receiver could be an option for them here. A lot of the big guys are gone, so maybe you're waiting on that one. You're looking at linebacker. I'm trying to kind of keep a guy around, who I might want to pick later, but I kind of see them just rolling with Micah Parsons here. He's the best player available. Either Micah Parsons or the kid out of Northwestern, the cornerback.
Yeah, Newsome.
Newsome. It's a passing game. I'm gonna give him Newsome. I give him Newsome. So Newsome goes to the Eagles.
Yeah, Eagles fans aren't going to be happy with that. They were picking 6. They trade down and they reach for a corner, but the board didn't fall their way. They had J.C. Horn and Patrick Surtain come off. They were probably hoping one of those tackles went to push someone down. Clearly, we still have the couple tackles on the board. They're probably going to come flying off here in the next couple of picks. So if this is the scenario the Eagles are in, the fans are probably hoping they trade down again and acquire more picks because that's a reach at 12. But they need someone, and there's other than Micah Parsons, if they're not okay with the off the field issues, then they have to take someone. And Newsome's going to be a good player. There's obviously other players there. Moving to the Chargers, this is easy. The Chargers need an offensive tackle. They have to protect Justin Herbert at all costs.
And the top guys are there.
They're all there. So I'm going to give them Slater out of Northwestern. They could just plug him in at left tackle and roll from there.
Cool. All right. So the Vikings now, who are another team that is plagued with left tackle issues. And here is where you might see the run on a position group. And I'm going to probably roll. I mean, like this, I'm going to roll with Christian Darrisaw right here. I just feel like you have a team that needs a tackle. They struggle with it. They have a stationary target in Kirk Cousins. It just makes all the sense in the world, right? To go get one of the best offensive linemen there. The one thing I like about him is they show him the film at Virginia Tech, and they said, hey, you got to be a little bit more meaner, a little bit more nastier. And he was like, that's it. He was like, yeah, everything else looks great. So what he did, he became a little bit meaner and a little bit nastier. So he's a really good tackle. And he should help the Vikings do a better job of protecting Kirk Cousins out there in Minnesota.
Yeah, absolutely. I like that pick. I think the Vikings, it comes down to, do they want the interior guy with Vera Tucker? Do they want Darrisaw on the outside? Obviously, it's more valuable to have a tackle in this league, and I think Darrisaw hits a lot more checkpoints than Vera Tucker does. So you go with Darrisaw, who's the better player. Yeah. This would be a dream scenario for Patriots fans if we got to this point. I mean, there's no trades in this mock draft, so clearly there's going to be maneuvering around. We can't predict that. We just have to pick them in the order they are and fill team needs. This is easy. They need a quarterback. Mac Jones is sitting right there. You have the Belichick-Saban connection. If the draft fell this way and New England didn't have to use any draft capital, that'd be amazing. So let's give them Mac Jones, quarterback at Alabama.
He better be the most brilliant quarterback in the history of the NFL. Because, and I say this only because, I say it's probably tongue-in-cheek, because if I have to watch I had to turn off NFL shows this morning because every single guy was telling me how brilliant and smart he is. And okay, fine. We'll see when Robert Saleh's defense is all over him, and Miami is forcing fumbles and stuff like that. I mean, we'll see what happens as far as that goes. This is an interesting situation here. When you look at the Cardinals, I don't like the makeup of the Cardinals team, but some people do. So I'm gonna we'll see what happens as far as that goes. I have the Cardinals before we stop halfway through with the Raider pick. They do need some help in the interior defensive line. So I'm gonna see if I can get him some help there. That's too much of a reach as far as that goes. So I'm going to just see if I can find a corner for this team. Patrick Peterson has left the team. See if I can find a corner for him. He has some back issues, but has tremendous speed. I'm going to go with Caleb Farley going to the Cardinals with the 16th pick in the draft.
I could definitely see that. They need help outside, and they have to be able to match up with DK Metcalf up in Seattle, Tyler Lockett. The
Debo
Rams have
Samuel.
the Rams have targets. So if the medical checks out on him, he's definitely worthy of going 16th in this draft.
Yeah.
And they're almost in a win now situation because they have to pay that quarterback in the next 2 years. So they need help.
That's coming. That's coming.
If they didn't take Isaiah Simmons last year and Micah Parsons fell to them, I could easily see them taking Parsons, but you already have a similar player, size, weight, speed guy that you couldn't figure out what to do with Simmons. So I don't see them taking another linebacker there. So that makes sense to go Farley at that position.
Yeah. I kind of think it works out. And then we have, this team who plays in Vegas. I gave you the pick because I have a thought on this pick. So the players who are available for the Raiders, we're going to go halfway through this draft and finish the mock draft next week. So we have Micah Parsons, we have Trayvon Moreg, Christian Balmore. Let's see who else we got up here. We got JOK. We got some players here. You want to go tackle? You can go tackle. What do you think? Mike Mayock and John Gruden, Tom Cable, Gus Bradley, all those the brain trust out there in Vegas will do with the 17th pick.
So this is interesting. I tweeted out today what I think is going to happen. I think the Raiders are trading down out of this pick, and I think they're taking Richie Grant at some point in the back half of the first round, which I would love. I'm a huge Richie Grant fan. Taking him at 17 would be a reach. But we know this team will reach if they don't get the trade they want. We saw them do it with Cleveland Farrell. We saw them do it with Damon Arnett. If they truly believe Richie Grant is the best player available, I could see them going that route. I won't do that in this exercise. I'm not going to give them Richie Grant here. But I could definitely see them doing that.
Go ahead.
In the current draft format we have here, I think they're going to fill the tackle position with some guys that are available. But I think Tom Cable has a guy that he's picked out in the second round. And the Raiders have 2 third-round picks. And if they trade down in the first, they could pick up an additional third or fourth and use that to maneuver around in the second to get the guy that they have targeted. So in the real world, I'm going to say Richie Grant. In this exercise, I'm going to give them Tevon Jenkins out of Oklahoma State, the right tackle they could plug in. Nasty run blocker, mean guy, would fit right in with that Raider mentality. I don't think Micah Parsons is going to be the pick here. I know there's Raiders fans that love him. I don't think he's going to check the boxes off the field. And then in Gus Bradley's scheme at linebacker, they're looking for guys that can play sideline to sideline. They're not going to blitz, so you can take that out of the equation, thinking that they're going to have a linebacker and Parsons is going to get pressure on the quarterback. And they're just going to ask him to do 4 or 5 basic coverages. So they're not going to spend a lot of draft capital there. And I think that they're okay with Littleton, Morrow, Kwiatkowski, Muse, and obviously Javon White's there too. And I still think they could go out and sign another veteran. So if they spent the first round pick, let's say they took Micah Parsons, how much is he going to see the field in year one? I don't think he's going to see the field early. And I think that with the investments they have in those other 2 backers, they're going to let those guys play and see if they can play in the scheme. So Tavon Jenkins, to me, in this exercise is the obvious choice. But I do think Richie Grant is going to find his way in a Raiders uniform one way or another, which would make me very happy.
Is that like the